So don't freak out, but it's nearly Christmas time. Now, I don't know if I'm excited or panicking like you might be, but it's time to start thinking about how you can plan for Christmas without the overwhelm and the stress that usually is involved with this time of the year. So regardless of where you are in the world, be it if it's warm and you are planning to spend Christmas at the beach with some prawns, or if it's cold and you're planning to have a beautiful winter's meal, Christmas can be a time where it can be a bit overwhelming and stressful, and I want to share some tips with you on how you can reduce that stress and enjoy this time with your family and your loved ones. So the first thing that I'd like you to think about is how you can get everyone involved. Now, do you remember Christmas last year where you ran around and did all the things and cooked all the meals and bought all the presents and were wrapping presents on Christmas Eve? And then on the day, you felt really overwhelmed and stressed and unappreciated and maybe had a little cry? We don't need to do that this year. The key to ensuring that everyone gets involved is making sure that you spread the load. So making sure that you ask for help and potentially spread the load of who is doing what can help you really reduce that list on your to-do list, and to make sure that everyone feels like they've had a part in Christmas Day. Things that you can delegate are potentially items that are being cooked, or potentially certain gifts that are being purchased, or even travel arrangements that need to be planned. You don't have to do it all yourself. And if you can delegate to someone else, it may mean that you have a much nicer experience on the day. So you know that I'm all about having a master list when it comes to your to-do list, but having a master list when it comes to purchasing gifts can also be really helpful. If you don't like having a piece of paper, you can have notes on your phone. The Notes application on the Apple iPhone is really great because you can actually share that with other people and have a live document. Or there's plenty of apps on the market that can do the same thing, and that's where people can put their wish list items in as well. So the benefit of having a master gift list means that during the time leading up to Christmas, you can note things down that people suggest that they might like, or if you come across something at a store and you think that would be really great for someone that you have on your list. That way, the week leading into Christmas, you can think, yep, I actually know what I'm going to get for Auntie Leah, as opposed to trying to work out what to get for her and getting her yet another knick-knack that you found at the gift store last minute. It can also mean that if you are delegating gift purchases to someone else, that if you're all putting your gift ideas in one place, then you can ensure that they have that master list as well, and they can do some of the purchasing for you. We all have heard of that moment when it's Christmas Day and the kids are opening their present and they look over to Dad and Dad has no idea what they're about to open. We don't need that anymore. Dad can be involved in the Christmas purchases, which means that he will know exactly what you're opening when his name is on the card. Now, Christmas can be a really tricky time of the year as we are very close to New Year's, and because of New Year's, we're often setting resolutions and setting targets and goals and all of those sorts of things, and your budget can be part of that. So I really don't want you coming into the new year and feeling really stressed because you've overspent at Christmas time. Setting a realistic budget on how much you plan to spend on gifts, but also how much you plan to spend on travel and meals can be a really good way of staying on track. So making sure that the budget that you set is realistic, and that if you can spread the load by, as I said, getting other people to maybe make another meal or contribute in one way or shape or form, and ensure that that way you stick to your budget. Christmas is not supposed to be a time that is full of stress and overspending, and that's essentially what the commercial industry is targeted for and what it encourages us to do, but in most cases that ends up leading to more stress and more headache. In most cases, when we think back to the time that we spend at Christmas, we remember all the really great moments. We remember, overeating and having a nap on the couch and someone snoring and just funny conversations, or if it is warm, spending time outdoors, or if it is cold, just snuggling up and having a great time together. We're not often remembering all of the fancy things that cost a lot of money. So keep that in mind when you're setting your budget, and make sure you're doing it realistically so you don't go into the new year in a whole heap of debt. Now, part of the stress around Christmas can often be around travel arrangements. In most cases, if you have a partner, there's a whole nother family you've got to factor in. If you're in a relationship or there's a blended family or whatever else, there's a lot of moving parts there when it comes to all the people that you want to see over Christmas. It may not be realistic to promise everyone that you will see them exactly on Christmas Day. The reality is, if you really want quality time with them, spending time with them on the 26th or the 27th or even the 29th is really not going to make much of a difference. It just means that when you do spend the time with them, that it will be quality time. Being really comfortable to politely say no to Christmas invites is also something that you need to keep in mind. On top of Christmas Day and your family commitments, you will be invited to staff functions and your cousins, brothers, birthday party or Christmas party or work party, and there's always a million things that seem to come up in December. So using my rule of how you make decisions, taking 7 out but giving it a 1 to 10 and being really specific on how you use your time will help you reduce your Christmas stress and ensure that you are spending time doing the things that you really want to be doing. So one of the traps as women that we can get stuck in at Christmas time is traditional gender roles. I mentioned earlier about that moment where you're opening Christmas gifts and Dad has no idea what you're about to open. And he's looking over because you're about to open your present and he has no clue. Now, we're in a day and age where that doesn't need to happen anymore, where we can spread the load and we don't have to sit in our traditional gender roles where Mum does all the shopping and Dad literally only has to buy something for Mum, and Mum does all the cooking and Dad stands at the barbecue with the tongs. Life doesn't need to be like that. Now, when it comes to being a part of the change, when it comes to gender roles, the key as women is to let go a little bit. So, if the kids are the ones that are setting the table, give them everything they need and step away from the table. It doesn't matter if the forks are not set in a particular way or the napkins aren't folded in a particular way. The fact that the kids did it is great. It's one less thing that you need to do. So being okay with that and being okay with breaking those stereotypes around gender roles is exactly how you can reduce your load as a woman in your household and as a woman at Christmas time. So it would be really inconsistent of me if I didn't remind you to delegate and outsource to other services. Now, you know that we are the life assistant that you can delegate pretty much everything to, but Christmas is a great time to be delegating to us. We can look after pretty much everything. We've even written people's Christmas cards for them before. So being able to do that and being able to say, hey, friendly life assistant, please do all my Christmas things for me, that is 100% something you can do. In addition to our services, there are services out there that can help you with your budget. There are services out there that can cook your meal for you. There are services out there that can even wrap your Christmas presents. So make sure that you're looking out for those opportunities and delegate and outsource wherever you can. So I'm hoping that with these tips that I've shared with you today, that you and your family and your loved ones have a fantastic Christmas together, and that it's stress-free and full of love and happiness, and that you go into the new year feeling really refreshed and having a great time together.